portion we would potentially be responsible for through various sources, including the American Rescue Plan Act. It would be a eligible use for that, or other potential funding sources that we have. And just very excited to share this. Many of you have seen this in person, and this is the first chance for the public at large to see this concept. So we have Director of Public Works Tim Bacchus, Director of Economic Development and Planning Gary Anderson, and our Chief Engineer Jeff Lamalva. I believe all three are presenting this presentation tonight. So gentlemen, thank you for all your work on this, and take it away.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year, Mr. Bacchus.
I'll just kick it off real quick. So as General Manager Stefano mentioned, this project is something that we're very excited about. It's been a long time in the works. Back in late 2020, as we're all sitting around, slugging our way through the pandemic, as typical with national crises, there typically follows some infusion of infrastructure funding along the way. So in anticipation of that, we've pulled together an internal staff team to start thinking of ways that, or potential projects that we think we could be, you've all heard the term shovel ready for, right? So working with members of Public Works, our engineering team, the Department of Economic and Planning and Economic Development, Gary's team, we started a little working group. We met periodically, and we all essentially coalesced around our downtown and some of the transformative things that have already been happening down there, and saw this as an opportunity to kind of launch it even further and faster and address, a lot of the things that we as a community see our downtown and want our downtown to be. So while we're calling the project Downtown Manchester Complete Street Project, it's really a lot more than that, because yes, it does incorporate a lot of the complete street policy initiatives and desires of the town, but it also builds on some of the momentum gains that we've had from recent investments and activities down there, with the restaurants and the outdoor dining and the Purnell Place activity. It also builds on, this plan also builds on some of the recurring themes that we've seen in nearly 10 years of planning initiatives and outreach to the community at various stages that Gary will talk about briefly. So, again, a lot of you have seen this individually, but this is a chance for us to kind of, as a community, see exactly what we envision down there, what you envision, what the community envisions down in the downtown, and builds on the successes. As Steve mentioned, there are not just one that we're going to be asking for support on tonight and on a later agenda item, but there's actually two potential funding sources that we're looking to get support to, that we can submit on. The first one, the deadline, I believe, is the 16th and the 17th of this month, and then the second one, which is a DOT project or DOT funded grant program, will be later on, probably later winter, early spring, that we'll be submitting on as well. So yeah, really excited to kind of roll this out to everybody interested in hearing thoughts and feedback. We've been doing a lot of community engagement, talking to various groups and getting their feedback. We've got some really good comments that we've incorporated into this plan already. And what you'll see when Jeff has an opportunity to present some of the details is not just some really unique and cutting edge, forward-thinking concepts for our downtown, but also some possibilities. So we're throwing out a bunch of stuff against the wall here and see what you like, what you don't like, that we think we could work into a project, right? There's connectivity aspects of this project with some of our trails and biking. There's pedestrian opportunities. There's swing space and programmable space for some of the businesses and opportunities for not just outdoor dining, but other events that the businesses downtown would like to have. It also provides opportunity for better connections to the abutting neighborhoods on the east and west side of the downtown. So I'm going to stop there because I am excited about this project, as you can tell. But I'm going to let Jeff run you through some of the details. But before we get that, Gary, if you want to go ahead and just kind of explain some of the history and some of the feedback and the planning initiatives and outreach that we've kind of gone through to get us where we are today.
Sure, thanks very much, Tim. And I'm just as excited as Tim. I'll try to convey that. We'll probably compete over how excited we are about this project and how hard we've worked on it so far, and hear from the board about your comments and thoughts. But I just put up what comes from the town's complete streets policy that was developed 5 years ago. The board of directors led that initiative with Director Gates at the time, along with my department. So a complete street is really just a safe and convenient street that's for everyone, no matter who they are and how they travel. So equity is a big piece of this, as you'll see, and really trying to make sure that this project is for the whole community, because downtown is such an important piece of Manchester. Recently, we've done a lot of community outreach and really tried to get some thoughts and input from the community, residents, business owners, visitors, etc. There's been a lot of interest focused downtown in recent years, as you know. Downtowns are sort of a hot commodity right now, and we're lucky to have one of the most, I know the mayor has said it's the most beautiful view in Connecticut if you stand up on Center Street, this beautiful Main Street view. And there's obviously truth to that. We're lucky to have a historic downtown that still functions really well and functions as the center of the community. So starting on the bottom of this list here, actually, 10 years ago, we did our Manchester 2020 plan. Downtown was a big focus of that plan. In 2013, we had a call for ideas, just, call the community for general downtown ideas, and you'll see some of those things reflected here. 2017, we did some strategic planning. We heard similar things, so you're going to hear similar themes kind of over and over here. You're aware of the Downtown 2020 project. We've done some small capital improvements, as I'll highlight in a couple minutes, and also offered our no-interest loan program to incentivize private investment as well, and we've seen some success there. And then last year, after COVID kind of first hit, we did reach out to the community and ask them what they thought of some of the things we did downtown. So the outdoor dining that we had, temporary outdoor dining, the murals, the market lights, etc. that I'll go through, and got some pretty good responses. So there's a lot of text on this slide, but this is from the 2017 and 2013 initiatives. On the left, if you look at the kind of middle ones there, you'll see things like improved downtown connections. These are things that the community said that they wanted in downtown. Make Main Street more walkable, increase patio space for outdoor uses. And like Tim said, we've been doing those over time, and we think this is an opportunity to really kind of turbocharge those efforts and develop a project that does that on a much larger scale. On the right, you'll see these ideas right from the community in 2013. Things like, bikeability, things like walkability, things like helping the downtown businesses, things like making downtown a destination, making it more attractive. So you can kind of review those at your leisure. I'm not going to spend much more time there, but again, these consistent themes keep coming up. So you're probably familiar with all of these views. The one on the left, that beautiful mural was completed this summer through actually a grant, downtown grant that the board awarded. The market lights continued. We've heard rave reviews of that. Temporary outdoor dining really helped a lot of the restaurants downtown during the pandemic, actually through the last 2 seasons. And we've been able to close Purnell Place to vehicular traffic both of those seasons. People have said they really like that. Other towns and cities around the country that have tried that, not even just in the United States, but especially in Europe and other places that have done that, have really seen that increase the vibrancy and interest in downtown type areas. And so we asked the community about what they thought about these things. The numbers may be a little tough to read, but generally we asked them about the Purnell Place market lights, one Manchester mural, closing Purnell Place to vehicular traffic, and converting parking spaces to outdoor dining. And if you just simply look at the upper blue areas, the upper blue areas in the purple, those are people that really loved it or liked it. So that's the great majority of folks really kind of told us that they liked these improvements and they wanted to see more. We followed that up with a question about what else would you like to see? And you can see here there the most popular responses for additional areas for outdoor dining, public seating. We've talked about that before. You know, downtown is really kind of a linear downtown here, Main Street in particular, and there's not a lot of places for people to sit. Sorry, these slides keep changing. To sit and gather, have an ice cream, have coffee. So that's something that you'll see when Jeff goes over the plan in a minute. Things like additional connections to the parking and bicycle improvements is a big one. We hear over and over that it's basically impossible to bike on Main Street. It's not safe. You have cars that are backing up into traffic if you're biking in the lane. If you're biking on the sidewalk, you're breaking the law essentially. So it makes it really difficult for bicyclists, and we've tried to address that, as you'll see. Cutting the chase here, these are the goals of this project. We think the project directly relates to several goals here. One, it makes Main Street a complete street, talking about equity and accessibility, making it a place for everyone, making it attractive to everyone in the community, and a place where people can gather. I mentioned the bicycle accommodations. We feel like it addresses sustainability, and we're excited to tell the Sustainability Commission more about it, although we've heard from a couple of members of that group already. It's something that we're interested in as a community. Things like lowering the amount of idling, low impact development, infrastructure and street trees, things like that, encouraging electric vehicle charging. Those are, as you'll see, will be incorporated. Vibrancy is a word that's, kind of become commonplace recently, but really that's the idea here, make downtown a place where people want to be. Help the businesses out, attract new businesses, encourage private development, and just have public spaces that people want to be in, places where people want to gather. And then last but not least, there's definitely a safety component here, slowing traffic, making it safer for pedestrians and bicyclists in particular, but also making sure that we cut down on crashes and making it safer for vehicles as well. So we think this plan addresses all these, as you'll see. So I'm going to hand it over to Jeff now, who's going to kind of go through the details. Jeff really led the charge here and the design, and done a great job. So I'll hand it over to him.
Thank you, Gary. I could have permission to share the screen.
Jeff?
Not for Jeff.
Everybody see that?
Yep. It's up on
Okay.
the, yes, thank you.
Thank you. So, as Ms. Bacchus and Mr. Anderson said, this is a very exciting project, and the goal here is to try to get as many of these items that have come out of various surveys, public participation, all of these things. How can we get all of these things to fit in this area, the downtown corridor? And with the area that we are talking about is from East Center Street down to Charter Oak Street. So I'm starting off, and I know Mr. Bacchus uttered the words shovel ready, and I almost fell over in my seat. This is very conceptual. So what you see here is very conceptual. It won't take long to get it to shovel ready, but I don't want to.
I have great faith in you, Jeff.
I don't want anybody to think everything is a done deal here, because I'm actually going to show you kind of highlights and some of the core concepts. And then the way we set up the plan was we have other ideas of potential things that we can do in various spaces that we recover. So I'm going to start out here up at the intersection of East Center Street and Main Street. Lincoln Center is off to the left here, and Weiss Center is here. So what I'm showing here is we're showing a roundabout at this intersection, and this is done for a number of reasons. Some of the things that Gary had talked about, slowing traffic down, reducing the number of accidents. Roundabouts have proven to be a very effective intersection improvement project. In this case, it also provides a great gateway. You know, you're coming in as the roundabout provides great space for landscaping, public art, signage that you can put right in the middle, and it kind of separates the downtown portion of Main Street with the State Road as well. One of the benefits of this roundabout, as you can see, to get everything aligned, we create a lot of open space, grass area that could be used for, again, more landscaping, some public art in front of White Center here. So I'm gonna just keep going down here, heading south down Main Street. So really the core concept here is reducing the number of vehicular lanes from 4 lanes, which is right now it's 2 lanes in each direction, down to 1 lane in each direction with a dedicated left turn lanes. By doing that, you open up room for all of these other features that we can add in. One of the most, I think, effective one is what we call a cycle track. So, you know, we looked at trying to improve bicycle connectivity downtown. Simply throwing a bike lane on the street really doesn't work in a downtown area when you have angled parking and parallel parking. So what a lot of big cities are actually doing, you've probably seen them in Boston, New York, or what we call a cycle track. And that's a dedicated 10-foot wide bike lane separated from not only the vehicles, but also pedestrians. So here are some examples right here of ones in different cities. You can see here there's a raised curve between the road and the cycle track. I think ours, we can actually, I'll show it over here. We can actually do have it at sidewalk level. You can see right here. So this is if you took a cross section of Main Street and looking north. By reducing the lanes to 1 lane in each direction with that 11-foot turning lane, you open up room to have parallel parking here. You have a buffer area between that and the cycle track, another buffer area, and then the sidewalk. So this cycle track actually goes the complete entire stretch of Main Street, and it runs down the west side of Main Street until you get down to School Street, where it crosses over, and then it runs on the east side to where it can connect with the East Coast Greenway right at Charter Oak Park.
Jeff has a great rendering that he'll show you shortly as part of the PowerPoint that will illustrate, I think it illustrates much better than that cross-section you just saw of what that cycle track, how it would actually fit within our downtown. So he'll have that for you shortly.
Yes. The other thing I want to mention is, so where we have the left turn lane, where you don't actually need a left turn lane, we would do like not a raised median, but a flush median. And the reason for that would be to provide bypass for people, you know, if you parallel park and you need to bypass around them, there's space for that, for emergency vehicles, and also potentially for truck loading as well. So that's another use for that median. So it's been probably over 30 years since a lot of the infrastructure downtown has been upgraded. So we know that some of the traffic, all the traffic signals are some of the oldest in town. The streetlight poles are probably very close to being needed to be replaced. So with this, this is a perfect opportunity to kind of, you know, replace those traffic signals with a new adaptive coordinated signals, similar to what we have up on Buckland Street. They're very, technology has come a long way in recent years. So the reduction of the traveled lanes down to 1 lane in each direction kind of offsets with the newly coordinated lights. Right now, the lights are not coordinated. So you have this wide open road, you're going fast, and you hit a red light, you speed up, go down. The intent here is that the narrowing of the road and with some other features is to calm the traffic at a slower speed, but to move them through in a more coordinated fashion so that the ultimate time to go from one end to the other is probably going to be about the same. It's just going to be a slower pace, but more, you're able to go consistently. A couple other things we're showing here are some more crosswalks. There are some pretty long distances between the existing crosswalks. So we're showing a few mid-block crosswalks with rectangular rapid flashing beacons. You've seen those around town, they're pretty effective. As we head down into this is Park Street, Cornell Place. We will be incorporating the improvements that we came to last year and talked about in front of Cornell Place into this plan, and kind of carry it along all the way. Here we're showing changing from angled parking to parallel parking. With regard to the parking, what that does is that opens up a lot more room, especially in front of these businesses, to do, outdoor dining, maybe like an outdoor marketplace. It's just more room to bring these businesses out to the road and to the sidewalk. With regard to the parking, what I'm showing here, right now you have a lot of angled parking kind of condensed in the kind of what I call the core downtown area down by Park Street. And then as you go further north or south, the parking really becomes very limited, especially toward the south. This plan keeps the same number, in fact, I think it increases it by a couple of parking spaces, but it redistributes them so that it's a lot more parallel parking, but it does bring more parking down to the southern end as well. I think that with a combination of improving connectivity, lighting, security to some of these satellite parking lots. This is the Park Street lot right here. This is a plan of showing a better sidewalk connection, better lighting. Of course, we have the Cornell lot that was just upgraded. So by doing that, parking kind of is very accessible. Couple other things I want to show you. This is down by Maple Street and Forest Street. Sorry. We believe Forest Street is a kind of an underused connection to the historic district, and with a cycle track here now, and possibly down the road, we see an improved ped bike connection between downtown area and the historic district. But we can at least, as part of this project, incorporate some wayfinding signs, some pedestrian signs, to bring people between the two districts safely. Then as we head down toward School Street, Well Street, these are the additional parking that I was talking about. We're able to gain much more parallel parking down in this area. And then lastly, again, kind of the bookend features another roundabout at the Charter Oak Hartford Road intersection. This one, I think, is actually needed probably more than the other one, because you know, we all know coming over 384 is very wide. People go very fast heading toward downtown. So this would provide a great opportunity to slow traffic down at that location.
Jeff, could you talk a little bit about what the benefits are for roundabouts generally?
Sure. They're proven to reduce the number of injury and fatal accidents. And because if you think about it, you're forced to slow down. You're forced to slow down to basically about 15 miles per hour as you enter that roundabout. And when I say forced, you're kind of forced because of the narrow width, because of the raised splitter islands. And then, so any accidents that do occur are more angle, kind of slow speed angle collisions, as opposed to somebody running a red light and getting T-boned, or somebody crossing into traffic. So again, by narrowing that road, there's only so much real estate between within the town right of way down here. By narrowing the road, not only are we getting the area for the cycle track, but we also have opened up the opportunity to bring some other things downtown. And just quickly scroll through a couple of these. More public seating areas. That was high. I think that was the #1 on the list of the survey. There's a lot of opportunities to, you know, little pocket areas to where we can provide these public seating areas. Sustainable stormwater design. We want to bring in, you know, upgraded LED lighting, EV charging stations. You know, basically, we want to bring Main Street up into the latest technologies. Water features that came up, I think, on a couple surveys, seen some of those. Improved wayfinding signs. Public art, you know, a lot of opportunity to bring in some public art downtown as well. So I think this project, like I said, all the areas you see in green are what I call recovered areas that used to be pavement that could now be used for all of these things. And that to me is the exciting part of the next phase of the design, is to you know, get some public feedback, you know, kind of prioritize what to go down here, and then find the different areas and try to design them in. And I'm going to turn it back to Gary, because we do have a couple renderings.
Thanks, Jeff. I think there you go. All right.
Yep. And again, these are just what could go down, just to give you examples.
Yeah, I'll just add one thing to that as well, Jeff. One thing that you didn't mention is we've been talking with Frontier, for example. I know there's been some issues with data capacity and some of the businesses downtown. So there may be opportunities to work with them, partner with them to see if we can get fiber through the downtown, which in doing that then opens up other possibilities for us down there as well. You know, whether it's, you know, Wi-Fi for the downtown district, connectivity to the neighborhoods with fiber, kind of leads to other potential opportunities as well.
Yeah. So this is an example of the cycle track. This is looking south down toward in the Park Street area. As you can see, parallel parking, and you have that buffer area with the cycle track and the sidewalk. I'll go to the next one. This is in front of St. James Church down on Park Street as well. You can see to the right the new staircase coming down, but this is right now you have this huge bus pull off, as well as the 4 lanes. There's a great opportunity for a public common area that could be used for multiple different events, possibly some tiered seating, some benches. Gary, if you want to go to the next slide. could be used for farmers markets, you know, any kind of outdoor event. I think this would make a great area for, in being so kind of in the center area of downtown. So again, just trying to be as flexible as possible with these things. This is a rendering showing what that changing to parallel parking down in front of some of the businesses opens up the opportunity for. You have basically about 10 feet of space between the building and the sidewalk that, again, could be used for dining or, you know, putting your merchandise out, flexible space. This is an example of what could be done at the intersections, you know, additional landscaping. This is kind of a pop-up seating, you know, different areas where we can add some seating. Just again, bringing more landscaping, better lighting, more public areas. Oh, I think we have one, yep. Here's an example of, you know, again, if we want to maybe lose a couple spaces and bump the sidewalk out a little bit toward the road and put in some, again, more seating, some fire pits. This was brought up, I think when we were, the suggestion when, during some of the recent visits. And I think we have one more, Gary. Yeah, this is kind of an overview of what the roundabout up at Main and Center could look like. And the thing with this one, it does have what we call slip lanes, so that if you're turning right on any of these intersections, you don't even enter the roundabout. You just continue along that lane. If you're coming up Main Street, heading east on East Center Street, you just continue on. You don't enter the roundabout. So you have that on all four legs as well. It just makes it a more efficient solution.
Jeff, if I could, just one quick thing on the benefit of, I'm calling it a rotary, not a roundabout, because we're in New England, and yeah. But the impact of reducing emissions and you know, the sustainability benefits of roundabouts. I know Gary shared a lot on that, and it's also because you're not idling at a stoplight. It reduces the town's carbon footprint, which is just another added benefit of the rotaries or roundabouts.
That's exactly correct. And in fact, one of the grants that we are actually applying for is called a Congestion Mitigation Air Quality Grant. And again, we believe because of the roundabouts and because of the improved adaptive traffic signals, with that reduced emission, that we qualify well for that grant.
And I would actually add, I'm sort of a slower adapter to roundabouts, I guess, or adopter than my engineering friends, but I'm getting there, especially as part of this project. But you can see there in this particular one, there's room for gateway signage in the center of the roundabout, gateway signage or art, or you know, some really interesting feature that can kind of welcome people to downtown. You mentioned the reduced emissions. Also, it's really easier for people to cross, and you can cross whenever you need to. You don't have to wait for the traffic light there, so it's really safer for pedestrians as well, along with slowing the traffic, which I think is really the best piece of it.
A lot of people, when we talk about, I'll go with you, Steve, rotaries in our area, I think their mind immediately goes to the two that have been recently built over on Hebron Avenue in Glastonbury. Very tight, very compact little intersections, and quite frankly, somewhat hard to navigate and get used to, although people are becoming more and more accustomed to it, and you can see the benefits of having that tightness, that compactness, and what it does to the speed of the traffic. Traffic still does flow through there. These are two different scenarios, however, though, on the bookends on our project. Much bigger intersections, many more lanes to contend with. So it's going to have more of an open feel to it. while it still at the same time controls and slows that traffic and provides those safety features or safety elements that you would expect from a typical rotary.
And then just kind of to end our presentation here, and obviously we want to hear any feedback or questions the board has, but we've started to do some of this outreach as we've mentioned, in addition to the surveys and things that we've done previously. These are some of the groups that we've already reached out to or in the process of reaching out to and would like to speak with. If you have other suggestions, I'd love to hear those. We will be putting this on the Manchester webpage, probably doing a Your Voice Matters page and allowing people to comment and provide feedback that way. We really want to engage folks who don't typically maybe have these things in front of them and have the opportunity to comment on them. So that's one of our big desires here. But people, like I said, if you have other thoughts, please let us know. And Tim, at the beginning, mentioned the potential funding sources. These are some of them. There may be other ones that are out there. That's really, honestly, the most exciting piece here, other than the project itself, is this is kind of like a once-in-a-generation opportunity with all these financial opportunities at our fingertips, hopefully. These things just don't come around this often, these opportunities. As I think Tim and Jeff both mentioned, there is a need to do work downtown. Even if we didn't even contemplate this project, we're gonna have to replace all the signals. We're gonna have to replace all the lighting. I mean, that's significant dollars, millions of dollars. So we could either just replace them or really leverage some of these other opportunities and make this into a transformative project. And we think we're ready to do that. Excited to hear what you have to say.
Well, thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Board members, I know we had the opportunity to see this with you in smaller groups. Any other questions from board members after seeing the presentation earlier tonight?